This is TechCrunch. The third-party app store known as AltStore, one of the first companies to offer an alternative app marketplace in the European Union, is preparing to connect its platform with the open social web known as the fediverse. The move would connect users on other open social apps like Mastodon or Meta's Threads with updates from their favorite apps in a new way. In addition, the startup announced its first funding round from outside investors with a $6 million Series A from Pace Capital. The deal gives the venture firm a 15% equity stake in AltStore and will allow the company to hire a team beyond its co-founders, Riley Testet and Shane Gill. Flipboard CEO Mike McHugh, a Fediverse backer, is also now joining the startup's board. The founders, now based in New York, say the new capital will help them capitalize on the potential for alternative app stores both in the EU and beyond, as new competition laws are passed. Already, the startup has plans to bring its storefront to markets including Australia, Brazil, and Japan this year. Now, to do so, the company needed to bring on more staff, which the new funds now allow. AltStore has seen notable growth since the EU's Digital Markets Act opened up competition in the App Store market, forcing tech giants like Apple to permit new rivals to operate. While the startup offers its own third-party apps, led by video game emulator Delta, it began adding other third-party apps last year. This included the virtual machine app UTM, a move that pressured Apple to open its own app store to allow virtual machines. AltStore also partnered with Epic Games back in August of last year to bring Fortnite and other mobile games to its EU storefront, AltStore Pal. The company also entered the adult app market this year with the decision to host an app called Hot Tub, which was the first iOS app for pornography and is now its top app. In April, AltStore began allowing developers to self-publish their apps for free on AltStore Pal, prompting further growth. AltStore's founders told TechCrunch that the store now has over 100 developers on board, which is more than Epic Games offers on its alternative game store for comparison. AltStore, which is not limited to games, attracts a variety of developers, including indies who want to put out apps more, as well as those who would not meet Apple's stricter requirements, like its adult content restrictions. Plus, developers like that the store supports different types of business models, whether that's a more traditional subscription or something where users donate toward the app's development, for instance. Now, alongside the additional funding, AltStore is launching its own Mastodon server, running on the ActivityPub protocol, where users will be able to view app updates and new information from the sources they follow. Developers can opt in to have their app updates published to the new server. That means if you have a Mastodon account or a Threads account, you could follow these accounts. You could follow the source from the company's Mastodon server. Then, in your timeline, you'd see when there was an app update. Once opted in, these updates will be automated by way of a JSON file with metadata, and this will output whatever is in the AltStore to the Fediverse. The service will also help with discoverability, as users can look to the server and the accounts it hosts to find apps they may want to try. With the additional funds, AltStore wants to give back to the ecosystem that will make its social network possible. To that end, it's giving back $500,000 to various projects in the Fediverse. So far, it's donated to Mastodon, as well as Bridgie Fed by A New Social, Ivory plus Phoenix by Tapbots, Tapestry by the Icon Factory, Mastodon.social, Acoma, PeerTube, Bookworm, and Fedify. Io is the Estonian god of dreams. It seems a sweetly appropriate namesake for a rising startup called Io, from that tiny Baltic country that has developed a process to turn agricultural waste like sawdust into fats for the food and cosmetic industries. Now, this process could be a way to reduce the world's dependency on palm oil, which has become a staple for food and cosmetics for its emulsifying and preservative properties. Unfortunately, because of that plant's need for hot, humid climates, this massive industry has also notoriously destroyed rainforests and other sensitive ecosystems to make way for farms. IO was co founded by biotechnology scientists Namalia Bonturi and Petri Jan Latvi, based on Bonturi's doctoral research. During her studies, she invented a new microbe, a strain of yeast. Instead of consuming sugar and outputting carbon dioxide gas or alcohol as with bread and beer, this yeast consumes sugar and outputs fat molecules. Now, the company will show off its tech as part of the startup Battlefield at this year's TechCrunch Disrupt, which runs later this month in San Francisco. Latvi was a professor of food tech and bioengineering at Estonia's Tallinn University of Technology, and in 2016 running his own biotech lab there with Bonturi, his first hire. She brought her microbe with her, and they worked on the molecule, altering it to be hardy enough to be manufactured. As Estonia has a large agriculture base of corn and other food grains, as well as sugarcane and lumber, the lab studied how sugars produced from those ag waste streams could feed this microbe. Latvi told TechCrunch, "We started working on it, developing metabolic engineering tools. The answer? It could consume those sugars quite well." The molecule's fat profile is very similar to existing fats. Latvi says that it most closely resembles chicken fat, but it is also possible to modify the fermentation process to produce a liquid oil as well that could make it a good alternative to manufactured oils like canola oil. Now, in 2022, the founders knew they had a commercially viable solution and launched IO with the hope of raising venture money and establishing commercial partnerships to bring it to market. They've raised about $7 million so far and, since founding, have created methods for developing precision fermentation products, won the 2024 Baltic Sustainability Award, and signed over 100 companies worldwide interested in collaboration. Bonturi told TechCrunch, "We have a very extensive analysis after we make our product, and so far, what we have seen is that our final product is to the same level as vegetable oils, except for the pesticides, even more pure." Next up, the company plans to build a facility to produce the fat in commercial quantities by 2027, as well as license the technology to other cosmetic and food manufacturers. It also must obtain licenses to sell the fats as food country by country, most likely starting with Singapore, which has a history of being more open to alternative food production products. As such plans progress, Bonturi said that she hopes to show how two scientists in this small country could actually do something better for the world. That's it from TechCrunch. For more tech stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.